Welcome back. We are here for Hissing Darkness in the Wake of Secrets, episode 6 and the finale of this series. Where we had left off the characters before, Pole had made a sacrifice to allow the others to reach the engine. ASRU had gone off on an intelligence gathering mission to be able to check out something that they saw somewhere beyond the vastness. And I think as you are all entering the place where the engine resides, I think ASRU will also make their way here, drawn by the continuous connection they had with Somni. Waves of strange energy ripple out amidst the shadows, changing and warping whatever they touch here. The geography of the engine is always twisting, always warping, a dense, kaleidoscopic fractal of dark heat. There is no red glow of heated metal, only unlight that fills your mouth, your nose, your eyes. Trespassing within its territory will be incredibly dangerous without the proper blessings, tools, and equipment. The engine is alive. It responds to intruders. The engine has control here, and it will not willingly give that up. As you find yourself here, with the probing wires and conduits seeking purchase in your flesh, they want to interface. They want to deliver a sermon. As you find yourself here at the heart of the ship, with the engine, your set goal is to gain control of the ship or destroy it. Quixote, just before you entered the corridor for the engine, did you contemplate Pole in their harnessing of the communion and watch as Pole becomes part of the ship? Did you want to do something before you came in? Sorry, I just remembered I wanted to actively address that.
Yes, Quixote will look at Paul and will think about the great sacrifice Paul has just made in order to secure a safe passage to the engine. Because without him, it would have been a lot more difficult to gain access into the engine room in the heart of the ship to finish our missions. I think that before Kyo's actually goes into the engine, we'll kind of like kneel towards the pole and put it at the top of the obelisk, I believe, what I recall. So they kind of just kneel a bit, say a quick prayer to Paul. And I'm really contemplating if Quixote would actually attempt to take Paul's head or not.
Now,
Because
the way I had described it was that part of the obelisk came out as like a face hugging type of thing and like kind of like, attached itself to Pole's face, and then like, the arms like, were harnessed by like the tentacle type wires and tubing. So I mean, like, he's there. He's like essentially like, part of the obelisk as a statue, as a piece of statuary, a shrine, basically. So I mean, if you want to do that, it's gonna be a risk roll. If you want to risk it before you go into the engine, I'm just saying. You're at 5 ruin, just so you know.
yeah, a part of me just wants to do it just to see if got is lost just at the beginning of the last set. But
What if you're lost? It's like, oh no. Just saying.
uh,
I mean,
but
I'll be satisfied if you even just want to take something from Paul's stash. I'm okay with that. Go
yeah,
full in. I love how your fellow players are aiding and abetting you. It's fine. It's all fine. So if you do want to
yeah,
do it, I'm just saying, risk roll.
yeah, it is the last set. Let's just go in. So Quixote is going to, much like with the Judome in the maze, Quixote is going to climb up the obelisk until they reach Paul, and they will just like try and yank Paul's head off. Yeah, their statues, so they probably will just try and like chisel at the neck and to just get it back.
Okay. So,
That's basically
risk roll. What could go wrong? Real
so
quick.
much,
So much, so much.
so much.
Mm. I think in doing this, because I think Somni has already gone through, and then ASRU, of course, would hone in on Somni's signal. I think that one of the things that could go wrong is that, you will block your way to the engine in that way because you're taking essentially part of the key, part of the key out. Anybody else have a suggestion or what else could go wrong?
Yeah, something that could go wrong is if Paul is now part of the ship and the ship doesn't want you to go to the engine.
I think because both Paul's an android and has like a, positonic brain or whatever, and Drom had implants, you form a kind of local area network with the heads and they become part of your Gestalt consciousness.
Well,
He's already
Kyoto,
wearing he's already wearing drum. The other thing. And yeah,
well, Kyoto already has Sancho and the Judome just bounce it down at their head, so what? So the more the merrier.
more than Mary. Yeah, you are gathering all your buddies in the tavern. Absolutely, for sure. Okay, so let's gather some light die here. So let's gather some dice. Light die, if this is something you are skilled at because of your occupation or background, or you have useful equipment. So you are going to essentially chisel out the head. What do you want to use towards that first light die?
Well, I have like some of my like combat equipment. I have like this built into armor razor edge, so I just like use the razor edge to just drill into the neck and
Sure,
just
absolutely. Okay, cool. That's the first light die. Dark die, if you are risking your mind and body for sure. And then a light die for accepting a devil's bargain. What can we expect to happen no matter what?
yeah, we need to accept the devil's bargain.
Yeah. I
I think
think
it's a modified. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
yeah, just to say, like, as Pole is part of the ship, like becomes a dark thing because that is part of, you know, their particular condition. I think that this dark thing will try to, what's the word? Uh, Signal to the engine that you're coming, and will actively, or at least try to sabotage you as you make your way to do whatever you plan on doing in the engine, unless it's in service to the dark things here. So, a nattering voice like in the back of your head.
It's a version of what I said for what could go wrong is that Paul's brain is like malware and it downloads itself into your arm and starts trying to take it over.
Yeah, I think sort of on that line, I think no matter what, your drive is to find the engine and like lead us to safety, right? But I think something here is going to interface or interfere with you so that you become like have like an adverse reaction to the engine, you know, like two magnets trying to repel each other, like adding, you know, fire to fuel, like something about your very being, your very self is going to be repelled by the engine.
Probably tear you apart a little bit, for sure. So, do you want to take one, excuse me, one or none of those things?
I think I'll take Jazy's suggestion of the ship beginning to reject Quixote.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. Roll, please, on 2 light, 1 dark in risk.
Okay, got a 6 on the light die.
Nice!
I
Wonderful.
mean, your dark die isn't the highest. You could reroll.
No. Success.
Dang.
Anyway. Yeah, so you succeed. Like, you know, so tell me what this looks like as you're taking off Pole's head and what sensations you feel that you're fighting as you make your way to the engine.
So for the head taking part, Quixote will just maneuver up the obelisk. Since they are flexible, it should be like a pretty easy climb for them to just maneuver up there. As they reach the top, they, like at the bottom, they give a little prayer to Paul before they just use their built-in razor to just cut off Paul's head and stash it. And I want to say that, like as they removed Paul's head, like this maybe like this like black inky substance that just like sprays out from the stump of the neck, and Quixote thinks he thinks they hear in the back of their head like voices like this this symphony, just like voices telling them that this journey's almost come to the end. Make haste, and they will just stash Paul's head somewhere and then a person jump down the obelisk and just make the way over to the I forgot just what it was. I believe it was like this big opening, this big crater in the center of the ship. And as they do that, I think they'll start feeling like the potentially the ejection of the ship, like ever so slightly, but not us down out here.
I will say that with the mark of the key bearer, you are actually invisible to the mind of the engine. You can still physically be harmed by the hazards and the monsters that the engine presents, but the engine will be unable to pull directly from your fears and motivations and will be unable to offer you any fell bargains. That doesn't stop Pole, though. Pole's consciousness from trying to speak to you from the dark, just so you know. It's just the engine itself that is not able to perceive you. Okay?
Okay. Well, that shouldn't be a problem. It's not like Kyoto has like 3 different voices in their head, just
Yes.
urging them to do something.
You've got the band with you. In fact, maybe it's helping to drown out the droning hum that everyone hears as they enter into the engine's space. It's a droning hum that becomes a low roar in the distance. And in the depths, there's this underlying churning sound and sensation, as if it is driving, it is hungry, and it is consuming. Somni, I think you are you've managed to make your way into the engine, this viscous fluid that you have dropped into. You hear your sister, I think, still. That pin that you have in your possession kind of gives you some sense of connection. And I think as you're tumbling through and then making your way and tumbling out into the engine space, I think you will hear like a familiar clicking, a mechanical ticking, as ASRU makes their way to you and maybe lifts you up. ASRU, like, you had done some intelligence gathering of your own, trying to monitor parameters in the ship as it stands right now. But you have always honed into Somni's signal. You had been keeping in contact as best as you could. And your directive still remains clear. Protect Somni. What do you sense here in the engine? Does it still meet with standard parameters, or is ASRU questioning what the findings are?
I think there's a combination of things happening. So ASRU has promised to find the gospel and give it to the dark things, but ASRU has run an analysis of this and has determined that something is wrong with the engine and that the gospel must contain the code required to rewrite the engine so that it can be made restored, the function can be restored. Whether this means full apotheosis of the engine or what does it mean? ASRU basically is taking instructions from a higher being, but has also twisted them to meet ASRU's own requirements, which is that Somni should be safe. And Somni will be safe if the engine is happy and is restored to its full might. And as we can see, like almost like a trail, like a sort of glowing trail, that they want to find their way to where the gospel lies and use it and take it to the heart of the engine.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do a hunt roll on that if you'd like. Yeah, let's
I
go
think
ahead and do it.
basically I'm improvising and using systems and also knowledge and repair. So I'm using all my skills and also my dark power core 2.0 to sort of
Yes,
sniff it out.
absolutely.
Um,
Okay, and that is
and then
the question. Yep.
repairs will need to be made. So I'll do a 2 dice hunt roll.
Absolutely.
Oh, I got a double 6. How's that?
Definitely a token.
Oh yeah.
For sure. And then, yeah, so I'm going to say that, in your passage through to get to Somni, but also following that other directive from a higher being, a higher consciousness, I think you do find this dark matter gospel. You can put this into your, brain. You can put this into your found equipment. It's a slab of crystallized dark matter. It shines, amazingly enough, in this darkness. It's engraved with encrypted scripture. If you do a scan on it, you will see that it is full of symbols that are ancient and yet also unrecognizable. It meets no code, no glyphs that you have seen in your analysis before, except for perhaps certain things that you recognize from your supplications. Maybe things that are inscribed in the dark power core. Maybe things that are helping you to sentience. But, and just as an FYI, conceivably it could be sold to the right trader for 6 gold for later on. But we'll see if anybody has any real interest in that at the later portion of this. All right.
I'll show it to Somni, and with the sort of it's eldritch light resonating in the power core and glowing out of ASRU's eyes, and say, and the voice, ASRU actually has developed a voice by this point and says, "This will keep you safe, Dorothy."
Sorry, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I think she just says, "Thank you. I know it will. I know you will."
Metal corridors are twisting and spiraling. For a moment, physics halts. Your meager light sources bleed and streak towards an ephemeral singularity. ASRU, I think, as you make your way into the engine with Somni, you hear something. You hear what sounds like keyboard strokes, or like, some kind of, input, coding input. And your analysis decodes it as, the journey will continue. The journey can continue. What will you do to help the restoration of the function of the ship? Where do you wish to go?
Hospital contains an upgrade. It must be committed to the core so that the ship may prosper.
Why do you fear failure, Unit ASRU?
ASRU's directive is to protect Somni. Failure of the ship is failure of the directive.
I think it's going to pull up in your mind's eye. It's going to pull up what looks like a monitor feed, like an internal monitor feed, and it shows where your failure to reprogram and repair the ship is going to cause the ship to be it's going to cause the ship to collide or crash land somewhere. And the last part of that vision is a static vision of Somni's face. She's looking quite injured, and she is kind of like touching you with not only her one hand, but also maybe one of the bone arms, and saying, "Why didn't you save me? You said you were going to protect me. Why didn't you save me?" And crickles out like in static.
ASRU's figured it out and sends a message back and says, "Nothing that you show me will conflict with the directive. I must see what is behind the screen. You are not the great and mighty one. You are a small thing pulling levers. I will find you, and I will upload the gospel."
Somni, as ASRU's having this kind of internal conversation, I think you're hearing your sister calling to you. What is she saying? Even as you hear the engine throbbing, churning, beating in your ears.
I think she's saying... I think she's saying those 3 words. Reunion, rebirth, remake.
I think as your eyes get used to the darkness, as it were, and the light seems to spread very thin fingers outward, I think you'll see a shadowed version of your sister in the distance. And she seems to be like you, with some kind of tech, attached. And she will kind of reach out to you with that, with her human arms and her tech, and say, once we are reunited, we can totally remake. This ship's function will be reborn. I know how it works. And we can remake it so we can find a new place to be. We can repair the ship and drive it towards someplace more hospitable. Come join me. I'm here. We have to do it together.
I think Somni, like, kind of walking towards her and then stops and shakes her head and says, no, we can't get out. This ship, it's different now. Even if we repair the engine, it's not... We can escape. You and I together, we can go away. I've almost figured it out. It's almost done.
We see this yawning darkness between you as you are reaching for her and she for you. Quixote, you make your way to the to the engine. You hear the hums and the churning, but it is quite distant to you. It's almost as if there's like some kind of talking, but it's not talking to you. If anything, Drom, Sancho, and now Paul are talking to you instead. Like this merry band that you have as your companions in this darkness. What are they saying to you right now?
I believe that all 3 of them are in their own ways chanting to Quixote that they should do as the darkness wants, help the ship, help the darkness continue as it is, to stop any interlopers, anyone that would dare to put an end to what is happening here. Actually, to convince Quixote that what's happening here will lead to salvation, and that anyone that's attempting not to stop it will just bring forth the doom and destruction of everyone on board and everything else in the vicinity, and that if they want to achieve the goal of being the hero that they so desperately want to be, they need to ensure that operations continue smoothly as they have been for the however much time has passed since the darkness claimed the ship.
For excuse me, for ASRU and Somni, as Quixote makes their way closer to the heart of the ship, or to the heart of the engine. For you two, in your programming, in your mind and memory, you see yourself replaying your worst mistakes. What is that? What is that very worst mistake that you remember?
Because ASRU doesn't have an imagination. ASRU takes the form of a self-diagnostic, and it manifests as a regret because ASRU has realized that there is foreign code that has been added to the core programming, and it blares in red that protect Somni is not the same code as the rest of the code in the default programming. And ASRU has not a regret, but a dissonance that the mission and the code are not the same thing. And it basically all the lights go off inside ASRU's self-diagnostic.
Something is on the ship. She doesn't know how. She doesn't know when it came to be, or she doesn't know what it is. But she can hear the screams of the others. She can hear the blood splash. She can taste it in her mouth just by the sheer smell of it. She's wedged in a ventilation shaft, a maintenance shaft so tight that she was one of the few people small enough to get in it. And she knows this as she looks her sister in the eyes. Don't move. Don't move. And then she does.
The engine is this core. There is a heart to it. There is a control terminal, a semi-physical point of engine to flesh interfacing. Quixote, I think you will make out, even through the pattering of your companions, I think you will make out. And maybe their pattering is helping you. It's ignoring this underlying unease and cloying vibe of the engine. And you can make out actual physical things, but it is still amorphous here. Physics doesn't necessarily work the same way. And so it is liquid darkness. It flows. It sucks at your feet. It pushes against your body with the force of a strong current. It can't touch your mind, but it can definitely affect your body. Again, the set goal is to gain control of the ship or destroy it. What do you choose to do?
I think Quixote will fight against the current as they'll make their way through the liquid darkness, trying to find their way closer to the heart of the ship, close to the engine. And I think they'll think back towards their own aspirations, think back to the moment in the past that made them choose to go down this road. How they just seemingly went up about life, just following the currents that took them wherever they may be, just merely existing as they go throughout the years. But Quixote wanted to be something of note, something greater than themselves. And back then they thought about the various like stories they had of heroes and how they accomplished greatness through their acts of justice, and how that could be a way that Quixote will make their own mark and history, how they can also become great. And now, at the end of the road in the engine room, they're going thinking how they still need to save the other occupants of the ship, how they do not wish the fate that has befallen both Jerome and Paul to happen to anyone else, not to the other residents of the ship, not to Somni, and so they haven't known them for a long time, not even to ASRU. So they're going to fight against the current to try and reach the engine to gain control of the ship and steer it out of the darkness towards safer waters.
Okay. So, if you want to find a way to, or at least I should say, like, make your way to the semi-physical console of sorts to try and gain some control, we can say a risk roll, because you have to make your way past all of the engine's defenses. Yeah, let's do that, because I mean, like, otherwise, like, parlay me into finding a hunt token or something. If you want to I don't know, have an answer to a question. But I mean, it sounds to me like you're literally trying to fight your way to what you perceive as, like, a control head for the engine.
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe once I put Quixote, but maybe gets there, we'll see about a hunter.
Sure.
But at the moment, Quixote is just focused on like trying to find the way towards the heart.
Yes. Okay. So again, it can't see you, like, it can't affect your mind. But again, the absolute control of darkness that it has, it is making impossible mathematics real. So it is skewing your progress. All right. So it is. I love this. I love this particular term here. It is bubbling the flesh of reality. The writing in here is just brilliant. I gotta tell you. So anyway, with all that, risk roll. What do we think is going wrong?
I don't know if this is like a special rule that I can't do anything about, but I think what could go wrong is you have this mark of the key that kind of keeps you safe from the engine. But I think in the scuffle, something is going to damage it. So like you still have some protection, but the engine can perceive you and can influence you.
Ooh. Yeah, I think maybe like, we'll say as an extension of that it's because of Drum and Sancho and Pole. It's like, they're wearing down on your mental defenses as a key bearer, and so therefore it's like you're laying yourself open to the engine getting through.
You haven't got anything better than that. That's perfect.
Okay.
He
Cool.
has concluded that.
Alrighty. So that is what could go wrong. Light die for, like, what are you what are you using towards this to make your way to the engine's core ish? What do you think? Skill wise, background, equipment?
Skills, I think. Well, the skill is always an option, but I think unnoticed actually
Yes.
could work in this case because
Perfect.
does have like the keybearer that kind of unnoticed by the engine.
Yes.
At least
Okay.
the mind is, I think that could work. Like the she could probably just like notice maybe a Quixote's physical presence at one point, but didn't notice like the mind of Quixote until perhaps it's maybe until they're maybe a bit too close.
Okay, great. Dark die if you're risking your mind or body. Both. So definitely dark die. Light die for accepting a devil's bargain. What do we think will happen no matter what? I mean, he's already got like all, like, his companions, like, like talking in his head a lot. What else do we think will happen no matter what?
Mm.
Go harder and say all the heads just fuse into him, and he becomes like a kind of Tetsuo type sort of mass of heads.
So
I
you,
am going to go the other way.
okay.
I think no matter what, you lose all of them.
Oh,
And you
shit.
hear like their last, like you hear slash feel them die, and it's like these parts of you are killed in this fight.
Oh,
And suddenly you're all alone again.
oh no. I love them both. I don't know which one you're going to pick, to be honest. Holy crap, that's amazing. I got nothing. I mean, those are too good. Which one do you want, or none?
They both are good. I think for the journey they had got his been, I think I'm going to pick Feet the loss of the companions.
Oh, man. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Two
Rolling
light,
dice.
2 light, 1 dark.
I got a 4.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't raise your ruin. So, like, sorry, 4 light and dark. So, dark is high, and you cannot reroll. Um, yeah, your ruin does not go up since your ruin's like holding steady at 5. But 4 is. Okay. You succeed, but there's a complication. Okay. So I think as you make your way through this darkness soup and current and maelstrom, I think, yeah, I think one by one, each of these things that has attached itself to you or that you have gained as a souvenir, talking in your head, they are washed away. They are torn away from you. They are snatched into the maelstrom of the darkness. I don't know if you hear their last words, or if you feel their consciousness being peeled away physically from you, but they are no longer with you. And when you do make your way to this console, you are by yourself. It is quiet, at least in your own head, but you feel and hear these throbbing, rhythmic beats of the churning, of the beating of the heart of the ship. And it is this. It is the engine. Somni, ASRU, you are perceiving these things that you see. You are sinking into the diagnostic and the memory. Are you looking for anything perceptible?
I think Somni is looking for life pods, something to get away.
There is only the engine. There is only the sensation of dark, oily fluids dripping, but they are not dripping from a ceiling perceived by you. They are going against gravity. They are dripping upwards from floor grating, and they are ferrofluid spikes that pulse in time with the beat of the engine. Dark and iridescent, flowing upward. Every strike, every drip seems to seep even through your suit. That can't be, but it is.
Can I see that Quixote has like gone to the engine?
Yeah, I think, as you're waking out of your memory, like, perhaps you're able to see again, like, because of the fluid, because of the crazy physics. I mean, you're able to perceive like some movement in this weird distance. It's close, but it's far. And you can see, like, the form of Quixote, like, fighting against it, like, maybe trying to swim, and things that have been attached to him, or, like, maybe that were covering his visage, like, have been washed away or torn off in making their way to this particular platform, per se. ASRU,
Okay.
I don't know how close you are to Somni, but I mean, I think as you wake out of your diagnostic, you will also perceive the same thing.
Drew has realized that an upgrade is pending, and that the previous programming must be put aside for the new release. And this expresses itself in a series of sort of glitches and hallucinations, and the drive, so the core looks like a great green terrible head speaking words of power. And when ASRU looks at Somni, he sees Dorothy, like Technicolor Judy Garland, but then the Witch of the West is swapping in and out. And that's just like I don't know what Quixote would be.
Would he be
Maybe
one? Would he
like,
be the Tin Man or the Wicked
yeah,
Witch? I mean, oh
maybe he's
shit!
a flying monkey.
Oh my
I'm
god!
not sure, but basically that's just ASRU's completely like shutting down at the moment. But essentially, what ASRU is going to try and do is use their ritual, which
Mm.
is to change the technological to suit your will, to merge, to listen to Azra's new heart, which is telling them to become one with the core, and that by fusing with the gospel, the dark matter gospel, Azra will become the core and will replace the core,
Oh
and the
my
ship
gosh!
will be repaired.
Amazing. I will tell you that one of the engine's weaknesses is rituals. So, like, we can call this, like, you're reducing its endurance if you want. I mean, like, are you going full on combat with this thing? Um,
I think Azra is going to try and become a new engine and replace the engine.
Amazing. I feel like that's got to call on to uh, a combat role. I mean, because it feels like, that's something that you're trying to break down the
Yeah.
engine in
Or
replacing
like
it.
combat
Yeah,
as
that
an
sounds like taking
abstraction for
control of it.
struggle,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
but as like an abstraction for struggle preceded by a ritual to lower its endurance, which is the bit where I fuse with the dark matter gospel.
Right. And then the others can help you in their own way if they so choose. Um, so let's see. Reducing ruin reducing endurance requires the risk roll. So if we're going to do that first, let's take it one at a time for what each person is doing. Whomever's involving in this combat, okay, to reach the set goal. So yeah, Quixote's already reached that control head monitor console, whatever. So we can call that as one of the ways of reducing the endurance. Um, and then we can call your ritual as part of the reducing endurance as well. And then Somni, are you doing anything as part of this particular, all around combat?
Mhm. Um, well, I guess, I mean, Somni just wants to get out, but I
Mhm.
think like sort of seeing this and seeing that she will need time to make new life bots and all of that.
Mhm.
I think she will like maybe as she sees Azru like kind of glitching out, and like she's realizing probably like, oh, this is very different. Maybe the programming is changing. I think she once again kind of like pulls up that computer, and I would kind of like to help his coding. Also so that Protect Somni is still in there, but also to like give him, I don't know, like extra juice, extra fuel, extra whatever.
Sure.
So I guess yeah, also reduce or help in combat, however you would like to see that.
Would you be doing one of
You
your
could also
rituals?
help me, sorry, or
Sorry, Somni, and Quixote as well.
Mhm. Um, yeah, I guess parasitize if I am leeching like from the engine to give to ASRU,
Sounds good.
essentially.
Yeah, sounds great. And then
maybe a
Ki
bunch of us could do rituals and then see how much we can lower it. But then someone would have to go into combat alone to do, and that sounds like Quixote might already be doing that.
I mean, like he's right there, like physically at the one console. So, Quixote, are you going to use one of your rituals per se to do this? But you are also a key bearer, so that is also a weakness of the engine. So we can, say that in your own way you are um, a weapon to reduce endurance. But just want to know if what you want to do for this.
Like Kyoto wants to take control of the ship, like to just like steer it out of like this darkness towards
Mhm.
as waters. The only issue with that is that Kyoto, they're not an engineer. They're at this control panel, but they have no idea how it works. As established, they have no idea how to even use like their own like little personal like messaging app that everyone has.
Okay.
So Kyoto,
I think
but
you
like
will
look at
see,
the
like they can see, like okay, just so you're clear, like Somni and Asru can see you, and you can see Somni and Asru as well as you've
yes,
battled your way to this console.
yes. Kyoto mostly like look at the console and see that yeah, I have no idea how this works. They could potentially just like randomly push buttons and see if that helps. So I think I'm going to use like the keybill conditions. It is
Okay.
unique to this set to help Quixote like maybe like to like try and like reconnect door away from the darkness to steer the actually yeah, fixing the ship is part of the drive. So I think yeah, I could really use the key better
Okay.
condition to like try and like just fix the engine by potentially just ripping the darkness out of it.
Oh man. Okay. Give me a second. All right.
I'm not
So
sure how the
well,
key
we're gonna
better
break down. We're gonna
functions.
break down everybody's risk rolls. This is gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be wonderful. So, let's start with Osru first. All right. So, if you're going to use reformat with the Dark Gospel, of course, to help yourself out, you automatically get that first light die, for sure. Um, Basically, what could go wrong is that in all of your rolls, the engine is taking notice and is going to do something about it. In Quixote's case, since they're a key bearer, it's like it's not going to affect them mentally, but it will affect them physically because the engine will pull out all the stops to render them useless. And with Somni and Asru, they're going to pull out the engine's going to pull out the whole, like, here's all the mistakes you've made. Here's how you're how you're remembering like bad things, but it's also going to tempt you in a different fashion as well. Okay, so just so you know. Um, so with Quixote, yeah. So light die for your occupation background skill. and such. Dark die, if you're risking your mind or body, in this case, definitely body. And then your light die, accepting a devil's bargain. What will happen? He's lost his friends. Oh boy. What will happen no matter what? What do we think?
Quixote gets new friends.
Oh. Oh.
I think no matter what, taking control of the ship means that you'll never leave it.
Yeah, that was going to be my thing too, that basically the ship will make you its operator, and that will be physical and irreversible.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that case, I'll add a little bit to mine. I think like not only will you not be able to leave, but like you are invisible to the engine, you will become invisible to everyone else. So you'll have to stay here alone forever, and no one will remember you or know that you're a hero.
Oh my god! Oh my god. That's so fucking dark indeed. Oh my god. I'm wearing the dark shirt. I know, but I mean, I'm a fan, but I'm also terrified. Terrified for you. You don't have to take it. I mean,
you
we could
can't
just stop at the you can have it, but you can never leave. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
You can't just dangle that in front of me and then tell me not to take it.
I have to do diligence. You don't have to. I'm just saying. So, you will or you won't for that second light die.
I'll take it.
Okay. Oh my god,
What?
I'm so sad. 2 light, 1 dark. This is to see if you succeed and reduce the engine's ruin, okay? I mean engine's endurance, sorry. God.
Okay.
Oh
I got
jeez.
3 and the light.
Oh, 3 light. Oh crap. You can add a dark die
You
and
can reroll.
Yeah, this is a perfect time. What the hell, right?
Okay.
Risk it for a
So-
biscuit. Boy howdy. So
So
2
now-
light, 2 dark.
Okay, so just add 2 light to dark to the risk total.
Yeah. 2 light, 2
Okay.
dark.
And I'm gone. 6 and the dark die.
Oh my god. 6 on the dark. If this is higher than your ruin goes up by 1. Oh my god. You
that's
succeed
it.
though. You succeed.
I
Hold on.
succeed.
Hold on. I mean this is the end game. We know this. It's fine. It's all fine. Oh, poor Quixote. Okay.
Not me fully baiting you and then going like, oh no, it's not supposed to actually happen.
Well, come on. When Quixote accepted that devil's bargain, you cannot say that it wasn't tempting lots and lots of fate. Oh, okay. Sorry. You are ripping out the darkness. You are taking full advantage of your key bearer status. The engine cannot see you. It does not see you doing this, but it does sense something physical reaching into it and tearing out its guts. You hear a scream coming from outside of you, and it is echoing throughout what you perceive as this space. Tell me, it does not get into your head, but it will pull you in to be a part of you and to have you be a part of it. You do succeed in bringing out the darkness, but the darkness has consumed you. What does that feel like? What does that look like as you become part of the engine?
I think Quixote Quixote like head, like we see them like gripping with like the engine trying to get into the darkness, and then the next moment we cut to Quixote just like floating about like in this just vast expanse of just nothing but the darkness all around them. It seems like there's no sound, no and no sound, no touch, no sight, nothing about. They can't even hear their own thoughts or even like feel like their own emotions. Like there's just this vast nothingness. And I think as the darkness begins to envelop Quixote, they just think back towards the short time they spent on the ship. I think about the people they've met, and Quixote hopes that perhaps someone in ASRU will be able to finish what they've set out to do, that this sacrifice will allow them to just push like this does like create like a small crack in the darkness's armor that they can use to push through. And I think like just before like maybe like their consciousness fully disappears, they think back to Jerome and Paul and how they, in their own ways, sacrificed themselves for the mission and getting to themselves. Yeah, yes, it's my turn now. Hope
Somni, ASRU, I think you do see this. You see Quixote reaching into that console, activating the monitor, but then it's almost like the darkness has flowed over and around them as they become part of the monitor console. A semi-physical, amorphous thing. But there's a shudder that runs through the ship, at least in this engine space, as if whatever Quixote had done had affected it in some strange way that it doesn't even know what happened. Somni, I'm going to have you do your risk roll next, because I think culmination with ASRU's reformat will definitely round out the reducing of endurance. Okay, so Quixote was successful, reduced the endurance by 1 so far. So, Somni, with parasitize, how are you touching the ship and using this?
Yeah, I think we see like ASRU is fusing whatever with this, and we see one of Somni's arms, like the mechanical ones, like again, kind of like split open as they go into a power source of the ship. Like it's just like in the flesh, in the darkness, like it oozes like blood and oil, and like it just goes through the cables through the arm as she reaches out to ASRU, and like the other arm connects with one of his ports as she's funneling the energy from the ship, like literally sucking it out to go into ASRU as she's typing away with one of the bone arms on the computer to like keep an eye on the code, and basically like when she sees something that is not desirable going to code, she's trying to hack it away, and she's like supporting ASRU like that. And I think my skills, tag and improvisation, probably maybe
Perfect.
even persistence if she
Oh,
just
yeah.
like has to keep
You're
going to get this right.
you are throwing all in, absolutely, and then
Yeah.
risk to mind and body, because you're surging with this energy is dark. This energy is not of our usual universe, and it never has been. So this is definitely risky to both mind and body, and a devil's bargain. What will happen no matter what in doing this?
perhaps as Somni tries to hack the power into ASRU and just like get rid of all the darkness and the air codes that are trying to get in, perhaps some of it, perhaps like there's like so much darkness, so much of those, whereas that Somni cannot get rid of all of them, and some do manage to break through, but instead of going to ASRU they embed themselves within Somni.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna take that in a slightly different direction, where as you are leeching energy from the ship, from the engine into ASRU to allow him to break it down, to reformat it, I think some of this will feed into all of those arms of yours, bone and mechanical, and turn dark as part of the hissing darkness. Yeah.
Mine is that no matter what, although you successfully make it easier for ASRU to reformat the core, you accidentally become the sort of Wicked Witch of the West of his or their mythology. And after the drive has been reformatted, a showdown must occur.
Oh shit. Just want to
Yeah,
line
I
up that
was aiming
contest
for
roll.
that anyway because I think like as Somni is like doing the code, I was going to do a bit later as a reveal, but I think she's like programming a bomb in ASRU because she doesn't want to repair this ship. She wants
Yes.
it gone.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, I
Love it.
think like sort
Love
of
it.
as this is happening with your increased power, processing power, like you realize like, oh, she messed with my programming. She's doing it again, and she's programming a self-destruct button that
Yeah.
she operates basically.
Oh, you have no idea how much I'm hoping like all of this works out because goddamn. Okay, so 2 light, 1 dark. You know this. You know the drill. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I need to ask if you were going to take one of those things?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna take James one. I
Okay.
wanna we need a contest roll to ruin us
Yes.
all. That's just how it goes.
Okay.
Um that's 2 light, 1 dark. There we
Yes.
go. I'll take it. I
Okay.
can reroll anyway, so
No, it's fine.
yeah.
You have 5 high,
Um
5 dark high, so that's fine. Yeah, you do succeed. I'm going to say that the complication is what I had said for the Devil's Bargain, which is that as you are leeching the power and it's going into ASRU to be able to channel this, it's like you can see like some amorphous forms start to break away from the engine, as if it's like it can't hold its cohesion because of the energy that you're leeching out of it. But some of these amorphous forms will start to drift towards you, and without being able to help anything about it, because you have to keep this connection going, they are going to attach themselves to your bone arms and your mechanical arms, and they're going to fuse and infuse them with darkness. Okay? So that is another point of reduction, another point of endurance down. Yay. ASRU, reformatting. So definitely risky to mind and tech body. Okay, so that's the dark die. And using a ritual, of course. We'll definitely get that dark die. Light die for your skills, background, occupation, the whole drill.
And the gospel and the ritual. No, I
Perfect.
don't have rituals actually. So yeah, no, mostly repair and knowledge and the gospel.
Yep. That just sounds like so incredibly techy but ritualistic in itself. I'm just like, oh my god, this is so good. All right, Devil's Bargain. No matter what'll happen? I mean, the obvious one that that Somni's betraying you by planting a bomb. Activating like a self-destruct code for you, and so therefore you will be taking her to task once this is over. Yes, once dealing with the engine.
I wanna for just because we know that Arthur is going to more likely have a showdown with Somni. I wanna say that perhaps the devil's bargain is that as you fuse with the gospel, perhaps Nox shows up and perhaps like as was finishing up the fusing with the gospel, Nox shows up and also fuses with ASRU and the gospel.
Oh my goodness. What?
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar. I think no matter what, the heart that ASRU has found or that is like developed by fusing is Nox's heart. So you will have all her memories of Somni as you realize that you also have to stop her to live.
That's too good and kind of builds on the other one. So I'm definitely taking. I kind of implicitly am taking Mads's as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm gonna take both of them essentially simultaneously, tragically.
Tragically. We love this stuff. Oh my god. 2 light, 1 dark, please.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's do it.
1, 2, 1. Oh, that's a 4. I'm
Well,
obviously gonna add a die and re-roll because my
yeah.
room's only
Reroll.
4 light high. Yep. So
Yeah.
2 light, 1 dark, please.
Like it's two and two now, isn't it? If I re-roll.
Yeah, 2 and 2. 2 light, 1 2
Yeah.
light, 2 dark. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Let's do it. I
Let's
can
do
take
it.
it. 5. I got higher. I'm still going.
Oh my god, you want to
God.
do another dark
No,
die?
I'm
two,
definitely doing it again.
2
I'm
light,
going for
3
a
dark,
6.
2 light, 3 dark.
This was the worst idea, but let's do it.
No, it's the best
Oh
idea.
yes, I
Yeah, there
win.
you
I
go.
win. I
Oh
feel
my
like with those
god.
devil's bargains, I needed a 6, and it needed to
Yes.
be like a
Yes.
ruin increase.
Yes. Okay,
So
so the 6 dark is definitely higher than your ruin. As
I'm
this is
very
happening,
pleased.
yep, as this is happening, you succeed. You are using the gospel. It is infusing. I think you are adding it to the power core. You literally have this, and you realize it is itself another power core that you can you know consume as part of the dark power core that's already in you. So I think maybe that's how you incorporate it in this to reduce the endurance of the engine. But yeah, tell me how you're more lost as these things happen and the devil's bargains take hold. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I think that essentially it becomes clear that Nox was Dorothy all along, not Somni, and that Nox is the one that needs to be protected and is now safe within the core. And ASRU basically becomes this kind of massive, like almost like a heart, like a big sort of pulsating mass bristling with arms and like grows and like, grows extra sort of glowing eyes and looks down and sees the witch and the Wizard of Oz, and it's time to pull back the stage and see who controls everything.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Quixote is already part of the engine now, but has helped reduce the endurance as well as Somni. But Somni's still hanging in there, but you sense all of that. You know that regardless of what's happening, it's like you know that Somni is going to have to be dealt with once you deal with the engine. All right, so I'm just not gonna. I mean, like I'm just gonna say that it's Somni and ASRU that are going to be rolling for vulnerability since Quixote is now lost. So each of you roll the weak point, please.
Oh, sorry, no, I rolled twice. I was supposed to be 4, but I accidentally pressed 2 buttons.
Oh, we're both 4. Oh no.
This is going to be great. I'm just hey, all right. Okay. So, take a dark die for each character involved who has a weapon they can use in combat. You're both again part of somehow the darkness and also empowered. I'm not going to go any further
Yeah.
than that. So roll 2 dark dice on the combat, please.
Do you want to go
You want to
first,
roll,
Jazy?
James? Sure, I can
Um,
go
you
first.
start. You start, and then
Okay.
I'll go. Yeah.
Let's get 2 4s on the board, please. Or not. But nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, nobody gets hurt,
I'm
but
gonna
I mean,
assume its endurance is not 4.
no, it's not definitely not 4. I'm sorry. Sorry to say. You did your
Even
best,
with
but
all the lowerings, I'm just gonna assume it's not 4.
oh no, it's yeah. But you do lay into it. And it's like not, it hasn't been able to push back, especially with the excuse me, infusing of the dark gospel and such, but yet it is also standing relatively firm in comparison. So
I think ASRU is pushing
reroll.
against waves of dark energy radiating, pulsing
Yeah.
off the heart, the core, heart, the core. That was a good Freudian slip. In waves and waves, and ASRU is just pushing to
And I
try
think
and
Somni's
get.
behind you, like still feeding
Mhm.
you with the
Yeah, I'm
energy and
feeding,
such.
and like that was 2 arms. The other 2 have like picked up the plasma sniper as I'm just like, I think is like doing a bzzz, like
Yep.
it's loading up this really concentrated shot as we
Yeah.
go into the next
Yeah,
round.
I think the light
Oh,
of the rifle is also kind of like breaking into the darkness. So that's how you can tell it's weakening. It's like the darkness is losing hold.
yeah, I forgot to say, because I got a 6, I reduced it by 2, not 1, so it should be down by 4 in total.
So it is, you would roll with 3 dark die now.
Oh, let's do it. Oh, 1 4, and
1 4,
oh,
a
oh
10,
yeah.
maybe?
Okay, hold on. So if you are ruined, if you add a point of ruin, then please add, either use armor to dispel that for right now, because I want to see this contest roll. Please. And then we'll say that you have, uh, sorry, brain. Use armor to dispel that ruin, because again, I want to see this contest roll. Fuck it. But you do succeed. The engine.
ASRU glows all over with baleful runes as the runes all over their body kind of ward off the darkness.
Exactly. I think this tear in reality seems to like separate even as it heals itself through the feeding of the energy, and us through taking the dark gospel's power and trying to seal it and control it. And I
And I
think,
think
God,
for Somni, we see like the plasma sniper is like loading this concentrated shot. And then we see a black gloved hand on the plasma, just adjusting the aim ever so slightly as we see Nox behind her and like clicking as the shot goes off.
the darkness recedes. I mean, not all at once, of course, but instead of being complete sea depth darkness, you feel like a flow has released. The pressure is lighter now, and it's as if anything that has any light, true light whatsoever, from weapons, from monitoring systems, from readouts, they're actually brighter. And you feel a release. However, even as the ship opens up, you still feel some distant underlying thrumming. There are things here in the ship that are still very, very dangerous. But, ASRU, you know that there's a immediate danger right now. And it is because of Somni. So as the ship opens up, but there are still dark things about, how do you two look at each other now?
Can I real quick before we get to the contest roll, can I give my hunt token to like have extra meds on me so that we're both on 4 ruin?
Yeah,
So
that
we
is
are
perfectly
like
fine.
equal going in. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, and then like, just for funsies, since you did succeed, it's like, let's do somebody roll 9 gold.
Who wants to roll?
Can I do one? Because I don't think I've done one of these
Yes,
Yeah,
treasure
please
rolls.
go for it.
please
9
do.
gold,
I
please.
mean, you
One,
rolled the winning one.
Yeah.
2.
2
gold.
gold. 2 gold.
I can't believe to all of it that ASRU managed to find Quixote's head.
Can that be what the Can that what? Yeah, that can be.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I think Somni, like as the darkness recedes and she sees like ASRU hanging there as like that dark heart, I think having Nox's hand on her shoulder, we see her bring up that computer and she starts typing away. It's time for this to end.
ASRU, what is your monitor like, blinking as you're like kind of like, that whole like what is it electronic like, tracking square or whatever as it like, goes on to Somni. What is ASRU thinking?
ASRU now contains backups of everyone. So ASRU is Nox, ASRU is Quixote, ASRU is Drom and Paul, and everyone at once, and starts to grow heads for everyone, and they all start talking and pleading and whispering blandishments to Somni at the same time. And Drom, the mass that is Drom just gets bigger and darker and more menacing and grows more appendages with every passing minute.
Oh my gosh. All right. So before we get to the contest roll, because that'll culminate, and then we will have epilogues after that. But before that, I need a bio break. So 5 minutes. Back at the 45 mark. Be right back.
By having a contest roll.
Yes. So, yeah, as James just said, it's like we need to do this justice because even though it is Trophy Gold, this plays so much like Trophy Dark. So a culmination into a contest roll sounds perfect.
Sounds about right.
Oh my God. So we know how this is built, but let's go over it again. When treasure hunters decide to act against each other, they must agree on what is at stake. So Somni was trying to build a bomb out of ASRU because she don't want to repair the ship. She wants to get the fuck out. Gotcha. And then ASRU is like, nope, directive is to repair. Are we willing to take each other out for this? That's the stakes. Alrighty. So, for each competing player, take a light die if you have a skill or equipment that makes this contest easier. No doubt. For sure. And then you will take we'll take a light die for each point of ruin that you currently have. So in Somni's case, that will be 5 light die. In ASRU's case, 5 light die. Take a dark die if the contest itself is inherently deadly or dangerous. Oh, hells yeah. So, given the weaponry that ASRU has, plus Somni's automatic coating of the bomb, yeah, it's definitely dangerous. And then you will decide how many additional dark die that you are willing to risk. Remembering that for each dark die in the roll that shows up a 1, you will add ruin. So, take that into consideration. Both of you start with 5 light die, and then however many dark die you want to load into the system for the contest roll. All right, so load up your numbers, but don't roll yet. I gotta see this.
I'm good. I know what I want. I dipped on it.
James?
So it's 5-1 plus whatever, right?
Yeah, 5 light plus whatever dark you want to throw in, okay?
Okay.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. I gotta like open up my screen to make sure I don't miss this. Holy crap! Sorry. Uh, okay, so numbers loaded in, contest, and roll. Holy crap! A doodle doo. Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Whoa! Oh god. So ASRU won with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sixes. But but how many ruin is that? 1, 2,
8 ruin.
3,
8 ruin.
4.
I technically do survive or like make it because my rune only went up by 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I can't
Yeah.
destroy ASRU. Yeah.
So basically, we have to figure out what happens when ASRU wins but Somni lives, which is the most appropriate outcome, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Were you
Because
deliberately
you are lost to the darkness, but you don't blow up, I guess.
right? Something in the programming, something in the power core, because again, like, you know, ASRU still has the gospel as well as the dark power core 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not gonna, the code's not going to affect them as much, perhaps. But they're still lost with this somehow. And ASRU wins. Like, what exactly were you trying to do to Somni, ASRU? Because I can explain that if I know exactly what it is.
I mean, I think the equivalent is like, in order for Dorothy to go back to Kansas, the Wicked Witch of the West has to have water poured on them and melt.
Oh my. Okay. Maybe it's a feedback. Like you prevented Somni from completing the code, perhaps. But in doing so, maybe the darkness of the core and the gospel have caught up to you. You've made yourself vulnerable to that. Ejected from the ship. Oh no.
I mean, if the goal is to simply keep Dorothy safe, then having the witch go away is probably like the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would explain why you've survived, because maybe you somehow do manage to get to another planet or something.
Yeah, because the way this works, and I'm just going to say this out of character, the way this works is that even though the engine is dealt with, the ship does open up, but still remains incredibly dangerous. There's other things that are going to fill up the power vacuum. And it says that the party can return to cold sleep to build up the haven and continue delving into the innards of the ship. And also begin the process of leaving the hissing darkness and maybe, seeing what they find. So what if maybe the way that Somni survives, at least for now, is that she gets ejected back into a cold sleep pod? You know?
I have an idea, but I'll keep that for the epilogues.
Yeah.
How exactly like what happens to her. But I want to hear how ASRU gets lost too.
Yeah, like tell us how ASRU gets lost.
I think we're going to get a little bit event horizon here and say that the gospel was key to what the darkness wanted all along, which was to enter a dimension that was all darkness. And basically, by becoming the hearts, the core, ASRU takes over the ship and takes it into another place that is beyond light, where light has never existed, and all is calm and dark, and the dark things rejoice.
Nice. So, for a time, it is drifting, or it is being steered into the dark. Now for epilogues. You would not implicate another character in this epilogue. This epilogue can occur at any point in the future, whether immediately after this or, again, sometime in the distant future. And yeah, just let us know what happens to your characters. And if your characters were lost, how the world was affected. Or how the world goes on. Whomever wants to start.
I can start because I think mine sort of picks up immediately from the end and then a bit of a time skip. I think like as ASRU is like fusing with the ship and becoming one, becoming lost to it. I think we see this shot of Somni as she gets ejected from the ship as the darkness pushes her out. We see Nox reach out to her, and we see, the vastness of space. We see this ship looming, despite how vast space is, it still looks gigantic, enormous. It looks like a stain on the universe. As Somni, small and insignificant, is ejected, she still has her hand reached out for her sister. And we get, like that shot of the ship, her small and insignificant looking at it. And she's reaching for the little dandelion pin as it was ejected along with her. But because of the constant speed of once you enter the vacuum of space, she cannot grasp it. It cannot reach her. And she stays like that for a long time. The suit repairing itself until eventually she's picked up by another ship. And then we have a time skip as she has shed the arms that she had. We see her in a combat suit. She has strapped weapons all over her. Beside her, someone asks, "Do you really think this is a good idea? To go back there?" And Somni says, "It's not about whether it's a good idea. I made a promise, and I don't intend to break it." And she enters her own little spaceship, the Reunion.
Who's next?
Go last, I think. So
Yeah, Quixote was last in the darkness of the ship's engine. So I think that perhaps maybe what happens is that at some point in the future, perhaps a part of the ship breaks off and leaves the realm of darkness, which ASRU has driven it into. Like maybe it just floats off and at some point maybe like just crashes at like a planet or is picked up by potentially other ships. I think you need like that part broke off. They were like a settlement, perhaps the original settlement where we were, where we started. And they recounted their stories about what they experienced at the darkness in the ship. And I think perhaps where the little path made its home, perhaps like we see like maybe like an elderly person, man or woman, telling like a story to children as behind them we see like maybe like a statue of the four brave explorers. They contribute to trying to save them all, and perhaps they do attribute that they somehow did manage to save them. As we see like this statue of not just Quixote but also of Somni, Jerome, and Paul. And as this is still part of the ship, quote unquote, perhaps as a ghost, we see Quixote just look about from the shadows, knowing that no matter what happens, no one will ever see them there. But what I know is that in the last moments, they did manage to achieve something great, and even if no one's going to like even know the name or know that they're still somehow there, they will still look out over the people they sacrificed themselves for, even if their own names forgotten through time. The only thing that's left is this statue.
I think we pick up and it's like several thousand years later, and the statue's still there alone in a ruined courtyard of an ancient city. But then on the horizon, a newer city, a sort of glimmering modern bristling of super high spires, and it's a utopian metropolis that was only possible because of the heroics of the mighty Quixote. And then the people of that city, it's a normal night. Everyone's walking around. The shops are all open. And they look up at the moon, and suddenly a dark pupil appears on the moon as a vast vortex opens in orbit above the planet, and the ship is back, and it falls from the hole like an asteroid, or if you look at it in a strange way from orbit, it still almost looks like a great heart writhing and pulsing after its centuries-long journey through the darkness.
Beautiful trophy ending. Oh my gosh. I got nothing. I'm not even gonna, because that was gorgeous. And that is the end of Hissing Darkness in the Wake of Secrets. Congratulate yourselves, because goddamn, amazing. Amazing. Standing ovation, except I can't really stand in the booth at the moment. Stars and wishes. Crap. I mean, stars for this session alone. I mean, just the dealings with the engine, and then of course the whole series. I mean, fantastic moments, fantastic narrations, incredible roles. I took a picture of this one, so very happy about this. Thank you all for making this journey through a Trophy Gold incursion so pleasurable and relatively painless. Because even though I'm very familiar with Dark, it's like, Gold kind of eluded me a little bit, and I was very fearful about running it. And this was great. You guys did such a brilliant job with your characters, and then also falling into, some of the space horror tropes, or like, feeding into the space horror vibes. Just so good. I mean, and the introduction of the Wizard of Oz elements, like, Somni's tie to her sister and all those memories, and then Quixote's drive of wanting to be a hero in the strangest ways possible. But we got there. You got there, and it was great. I loved it. And then, of course, Mike's poll, being the secret android that we come to know and love, and then sacrificing himself to allow the others to keep going. And again, just beautiful moments throughout. And I really don't have a wish except for when I run this again, it's like, to hope to have just as wonderful stories told by the characters, because this is so great. This is such a great incursion by Josh Hiddey, and yeah, this is definitely infinitely playable, I'll say. And then the evening group still has to get through theirs, so I can't wait to see what they do with that as well. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all. So good. Whoever wants to go next.
Yeah, I can go. I mean, just in general, stars for everybody's arcs. I thought we like had really awesome like conclusions to everything. Like I said it in the chat too, but I really love how Quixote did get their like big hero moment. I loved how they were like really that hero's journey of being all alone against a big bad in the end and like having to sacrifice themselves for their friends, and like the way you narrated their last thoughts of like, I hope this is enough to help them. Like it was so satisfying to see Quixote like have this idea of what a hero is, but like not truly understanding what it was about, to like that moment, which was like the most heroic moment it could have been. So I really liked that. I thought that was such a powerful ending for them. And then like the sadness of, being not being able to perceive, like people not necessarily knowing who they are. I thought that was so cool. That was a really, really great arc to it. For James, yeah, I do love it when the robots and the AI gets evil. Like it's a trope for a reason. It's like it happens for a reason because it's just so good. And I especially loved like kind of ASRU's in sort of their their perception of Dorothy and who the witch is. They kind of became the witch themselves, which was really interesting. Like in projecting all of that evil onto others, they themselves became the evil thing, which is sort of like the opposite of Quixote's arc, where ASRU started out, as a repair bot, like very heroic in that sense, and then became like literally the big bad at the end, which is really, really cool. And I really like that. Um, and I think we also got to have like a satisfying ending for Somni, where she, started out as a scaredy cat who kept relying on others and manipulating others, and it sort of ended as this badass who's like going to come back for her sister because they said they would. So that was really cool to facilitate that. Um, yeah, and Mads, I think you did incredible with the descriptions, like letting us get all those arcs, giving us the time to sort of have the setup for us, help us get there, kind of feel out like where do they want to go, help us get all those cool endings. And especially I loved like the memory for ASRU with like Somni being like, why didn't you save me? Why didn't you help me? Because I was like, yeah, she would. she would manipulate people like that. That is very Somni. um so yeah, this was very fun. I guess my only wish is I really loved how much this was a fusion of dark and gold, but I would also love to like play a proper gold few sessions at some point, because I've never actually got to do like the hard fire. I never got to play where like players aren't immediately trying to kill each other. So like that, I hope in the future I can have a game like that. But I really did love the fusion. Like it just felt very true, because space horror is like such a harsh survival genre. Like it's just where everything need to go, like everything kind goes to die. There's just darkness. And I thought that was really great.
Yeah, to echo a lot of what Jazy said. Oh, I really enjoyed all the characters throughout this incursion and the arcs that they went through, and how it started at this point and it just got to a very interesting finale, such as Somni, because when I first met Somni, like in session 1, I didn't think this was going to be how her arc concluded. I didn't think she was going to become so manipulative as she did. Like I did think like, oh yeah, she's going to get braver without the incursion, but not in this way. And it was like really great to see all that unfold. And because of that, I need to give like a start to both the inclusion itself, but also to Matt for just like allowing us to be able to like, go on these arcs and already like great descriptions of the different zones of the ship and the horrors within them. And yeah, like really just really enjoyed because space horror is one of those like subgenres that I like really like, and like I want to like get more of. But it also is one of those genres that is a bit harder to I think to pull off just because of the whole isolation in space and what you can do to like make it just work, which I believe this inclusion did a great job of doing. So that I think my only like wishes was that I kind of wish that Mike could have joined us through the entirety, because it would have been interesting to see how Paul would have reacted as well to the engine and the various things that happened. And yeah, I think that's it for wishes. Like, this is my first time playing a Trophy Gold, which yeah, it isn't really like potentially like maybe like the best representation because it does blend that line with Trophy Dark. But I do like Trophy Dark, so I didn't mind this at all. But yeah, I'm looking forward to potentially playing more, not just Trophy Go, but more like games in the Trophy family. As I know there are some, and I just think it's a really great format for characters that are just doomed or desperate to get the threat is that they think they need.
I think everyone said what I would have said, but the only thing I have to add is just that I feel like it was basically a fusion. Like it was Trophy Gold rules, but because of the way that rooted in Trophy, like the moves overlap, I think we were able to basically play the bits of Trophy Dark we wanted to play, and it was good. We managed to get the plan for your demise thing going, which is my favorite bit of Trophy Dark is get it ready, set it up, and then. But we got like the great sort of double ending of like having a boss battle and then having a Trophy Dark end. And I think the Trophy Gold gave the characters more survivability so that they wouldn't have lasted for this many sessions, like otherwise it's impossible. Like, what is it, like probably 2-3 sessions tops with Trophy Dark. So it was like a really long Trophy Dark incursion, but also it had some great kind of adventuring things going on. So it's its own thing, this incursion. I think it's just its own thing. It doesn't really care about whether it's Trophy Gold or Trophy Dark. It doesn't matter, and that's why I love it. And it's perfect the way it is. I just love the hybrid of the rules so much. And yeah, my wish would have been to all play the last session together. But I think we did a pretty good job of getting everyone sort of getting a satisfying arc and sort of weirdly achieving their drives in kind of slightly, twisted ways, if that makes sense. And having, I just thought it was very satisfying. And it couldn't have been this long and satisfying unless it was like sort of a hybrid. And I think, Mads, you found a way of playing it like dark and like gold. I think you quite quickly found your own balance between the two, and I think it just became its own thing, and it was just very, very pleasant and interesting the way it was. And I've been editing and working with a few people making their own rooted in trophy games, and finding the balance is quite hard. And sometimes you just have to do it in play, basically. But it's interesting seeing how different parts of rooted in trophy express themselves.
Yeah, I love this system so much. And granted, it's like I've only played a few of the core Trophy Dark and core Trophy Gold, which is why I wanted to see the other side of the table and run it. But I mean, I am a willful child and I don't do what I'm supposed to do, so I don't do the starter adventures for either. Like I start off with something completely different, third party, and I enjoy myself. I mean, and I find it hilariously funny that like what I find successful in running these things, at least to start, was space horror. So with Trophy Dark, I ran Allura by Alicia Furness, and then, I mean, I did run the Crimson Spire before with I think it's like Spencer Campbell's incursion of Trophy, but I mean of Trophy Gold, but it's like something even stranger. So like it had like a dreamscape to it, like it's like something that was not again an actual planted reality. And then same with this. This is space horror. Like Hissing Darkness is just like so rich in some of the descriptions and the space tropes that you can lean into, and then like just the horror as you go deeper and deeper. But it does have the provision for the characters to go back into cold sleep if they manage to survive, and also trade out their stuff for eventual value and go back out and do it again and explore the ship further. So I knew that it had an ending to it. So I mean, like, regardless of whether it came out more Trophy Gold or Trophy Dark, I mean, everyone did such a fantastic job with this. It was a pleasure running this for you all, and thank you very much for saying that it's like I struck at least some sort of balance with the two, because I think I gravitated toward this because of the fusion of Dark and Gold. Can't help it. I'm weird. So hopefully I will find a gold, a core gold incursion that I will run and actually engage more with those, set mechanics, like in more of a dungeon delving kind of scenario in the OSR fantasy that it started off in. I mean, maybe eventually. It's not something that I want, like that I choose to play in at the moment, but we'll see. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be something, or I do something nuts and try to create my own. I don't know. So much stuff. And I hope that you all will have great pleasure in running your own Trophy Dark, Gold, whatever, or even playing in such as well, because this is such a great system. I love it so much. And I appreciate the ride that I get every single time that I play or run it. So thank you again. This was wonderful. And happy gaming for stuff that you're doing throughout. And may we play again. Goodness, this was awesome. Alrighty. Thank you all for joining me. This was awesome.
Yeah, for hosting.
All right, see ya. Thank you.